Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Shri Radhe Jaya Lalita Vishaka Lalita Vishaka Shri Radhe Jaya Nitai Gaura Sundar Nitai Gaura Sundar Gaura Hari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Shri Radha Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Today we're reading Canto 7, Hiranyakashipu Terrorizes the Universe, Chapter 4, Text 19. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I'll read the verse. Sa itam nirjita kabub ekarat vishayam priyam yathopajosam bhunjano natripya dajitendriya. Sa idham nirjita kabub ekarat vishayam priyam yathopajosam bhunjano natripya dajitendriya. Sa idham nirjita kabub ekarat vishayam priyam yathopajosam bhunjano natripyata jitendriyam. Sa he Hiranyakashipu, idham thus, nirjita conquered, kakup all directions within the universe, ekarat the one emperor of the whole universe, vishayan material sense objects, priyan very pleasing, yadha upajosam as much as possible, bhunjana enjoying, na did not, atripyat was satisfied, ajita indriyaha being unable to control the senses. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. In spite of achieving the power to control in all directions, in spite of enjoying all types of dear sense gratification as much as possible, Hiranyakashipu was dissatisfied because instead of controlling his senses, he remained their servant. What a verse today, huh? Purport. This is an example of asuric life. Atheists can advance materially and create an extremely comfortable situation for the senses, but because they are controlled by the senses, they cannot be satisfied. This is the effect of modern civilization. Materialists are very much advanced in enjoying money and women, yet dissatisfaction prevails within human society because human society cannot be happy and peaceful without Krishna consciousness. As far as material sense gratification is concerned, materialists may go on increasing their enjoyment as far as they can imagine. But because people in such a material condition are servants of their senses, they cannot be satisfied. Hiranyakashipu was a vivid example of the dissatisfied state of humanity. I'll read the translation one more time. In spite of achieving the power to control in all directions, and in spite of enjoying all types of dear sense gratification as much as possible, Hiranyakashipu was dissatisfied because instead of controlling his senses, he remained their servant. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Chaitanya Chandra Charan Prabhu Namine Namashchitanya Pranam Kalina Chandra Vene Gaura Charan Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasachadesha Dharine. Jai. So here we see the essence of Hiranyakashipu's frustration is that he's been a servant of his senses despite seemingly being in control of everything. And that is the agonizing condition of material existence that all conditioned souls have to experience in each lifetime, whether in a human or animal body, because humans have more free will and opportunities to exercise this free will, especially enjoy the senses, in more elaborate ways than animals. We can have unlimited scope of frustration experienced as well. And the duality of material existence guarantees that to everybody, even people with very good karma, who have a lot of allotted enjoyment in one lifetime to experience. So, what are the secrets we are going to discover and uncover that will be useful for us in this situation? Because, of course, I can easily go on for another at least 45 minutes, elaborately describing what kind of frustrations we can experience in this condition. But I am absolutely confident that you all have some good examples in your life and in life that you observe, and historical precedents, and real lifetime examples, real life examples. You know, you don't have to go far to see this played out in front of your eyes very nicely. And that should give us even more faith in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the words. Because let's agree that sometimes maybe it's difficult to accept what is said there, especially if our personal experience is involved or we have attachments. We like to justify sometimes that maybe Bhagavatam is wrong, and you know the sages didn't know what it's like to live in 2025, or Srila Prabhupada didn't know what it's like to live in my body in 2025 with my conditions, with my situation, my story. Surely they can't be right for everybody. So we sometimes maybe, like to feel exceptional and therefore have a loophole to sort of avoid surrendering. In fact, sometimes we become very good at it and, write long posts why I cannot be a devotee of Krishna. And it's not my fault, of course. It's Krishna's fault or someone else's who's trying to give me Krishna fault. We like to do that because it's an inconvenient truth to accept. Because every Bhagavatam statement, every chapter, invite us to take responsibility and make a first step in changing this condition, this pitiful condition that we all fell into, feeling frustration despite seemingly enjoying. If you've been around very rich people and you hear what they talk about, and I guess I have been because my sister is very wealthy, and so the kind of friendship they have and conversations are just crazy. I don't want to pick on her. She's a wonderful person, but yeah, I think sometimes, there were times in my teenage years when I get opportunity to spend some time with her and her family and the people they kind of like hang out with. And I was already a devotee, and I think that's the reason they never invite me anywhere anymore to spend time with their friends, because I could not take that. And I would make comments, and it was a fanatical stage of my Krishna consciousness. So I just remember the things they talked about. It really was just like adults with great responsibilities who have some say in the world and who do have real power to affect other people's lives. And then yet what was really going on in their mind is like children in the playground in a sandpit saying, "Oh, I have this car. Oh, but I have this boat. Oh, but I have this, I don't know, horse." And it's not just a horse, it's this expensive rare horse. Oh, and I went in such and such place and I spent that much money. Can you imagine? Yeah, but I went to that place and I spent what, that much money. And you will think it's a joke, but no. People who overwhelmed with um, opportunities to enjoy their senses, they're so frustrated because the more you put, the more you want, because the fire gets bigger, because there is such an array of difficult emotions that somebody is doing more than you. And it seems so silly and so phony. And you think of the people who somehow, acquired so much and they have such good karma to have those powers and opportunities, possibilities in life. How do they live like this? Why do they remain immature children within who are frustrated because their immediate senses are not satisfied? But it's exactly like that. It is absolutely crazy, insane, incredible. And you can imagine, the friends of my sister, and their kind of association are not the big figures, the Rockefellers and the president, and then, their bunch, the corporate leaders who really do have a lot of control on how the civilization is moving around. It seems, all right, it seems, but unfortunately, they're not in control. Their senses are in control, and that's why they cannot be in control of everything here and put things in order and run the place as it should, as the Rajarishis did, who actually, did the meditation and went to the Himalayas and consulted the Brahmanas and had a guru and prayed to the Lord every day to be able to guide the population and control their senses, and really at the right time renounced all of that and said, enough is enough. I've done my duty. Finally, I can actually do the fun things, which is engage in devotional service and control my senses, because that's where the happiness lies. And how do they know that? How did they know that? And how did we not know? How did our civilization completely forget it? Well, ignorance, not reading Bhagavatam. That's all. That's that simple. There's no other answers to that question. It's a willful ignorance, which causes suffering because we just don't know how to utilize the resources and the whatever little good karma we have and receive from past activities. But the answer is right there, and it was given at the very, very beginning of the creation, and is given again and again and again by the Lord. It's not like He's hiding the truth from us so we can suffer here and dig our grave hole bigger and deeper. I don't know if you say this in English, but there is a saying in Russian that I'm trying to translate, maybe not very elegantly, that when you're doing something that is bad for you, and yet you continue to do that, like willfully creating the suffering, is that it's compared to you going to your own graveyard where you're going to be laying, where your body's going to be, and just laboring very hard to make a big hole, deep, deep hole where you're going to be buried. And it seems like, yeah, I'm doing something really good and productive, but honestly, all you're preparing is the place where you're going to be rotting, the body, not you. So that's the saying, like, you're just very counterproductive for your happiness right now, right? And so that's what we do in life. As soon as we learn how to hold the shovel, we go, okay, let's go. It's time to make a really comfortable arrangement for my body to be laying there and rotting. And we spend whole life laboring very hard. That's what serving the senses only is compared to, You're just like rushing to fulfill your karma in this life, to experience all the lessons. But enough on that. I said I will not speak for 45 minutes on this particular point, because we all understand, and that's why hopefully we are trying to be devotees. We're trying to practice sadhana bhakti, which will in turn grow into bhava and prema bhakti, spontaneous devotional service, where it is really just our nature. But now we're practicing control of the senses because it's the preliminary condition for the soul not to be conditioned. There is a condition to become unconditioned, and that condition is, hey, control your senses, become the master, become Goswami, and purify your mind and heart so you can see the reality, and you can strengthen the intelligence to the degree where the instructions of Bhagavatam, and especially if you're spiritual master, because it's the number one step in spiritual life, as described in Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, is to accept the Guru. It is number one rule, and be under the guidance of a Vaishnava, of the realized soul. But to do that, we have to have some intelligence, right? Because why otherwise people wouldn't do that? Yeah, because they're ignorant about their nature and about what's good for them. But Krishna has given the instructions very early in the universe. So creation, he gave it to Lord Brahma. He actually explained how to achieve any success in anything. Perhaps not all of us yet in a stage of pure devotion. We're still interested in how to still live this material life somehow happily and healthy and sort of productive. And there are instructions for that. Not that Krishna wants us to just suffer all the way through. I mean, he does mention some things about being merciful to Vaishnavas, the devotees, and those who dear to him, and therefore taking away everything because his name is Hari, right? He steals our material enjoyment and opportunities to become forgetful of him again. And so a devotee can be, out of mercy of Krishna, put in a difficult position. We do not forget that. We will talk about it in detail as well, because this is another trajectory of our life in the material world. Yes, it is true. But generally, the Lord is very generous. And if devotee has an intelligence to utilize the potential, his karmic potential, in the service of the Lord, really offer it back to the owner, right? That's how it works. Then he's not, trying to stop you from being healthy and wealthy and popular and knowledgeable and beautiful and famous and strong and detached. The Lord is full of these opulences, and he doesn't mind sharing some with devotees. That is true. We've seen at the example of Srila Prabhupada. He's been given a lot of resources and a lot of those opulences because he has a mission. And so Krishna is very generous like that to those who sincerely can handle it and not misuse it. The most main problem of why we can't do it is because we can't use it properly. We get overwhelmed. We think, aha, I'm like Yertle the turtle. I'm the Lord of them all. I'm the highest of all. Sorry, I should be quoting Bhagavatam verses, but because I read a lot of kids' books, the main shastra that comes into the mind first is the Yertle the turtle and Dr. Seuss. But those are good books. I'm sure he read some Bhagavad Gita at some point in his life. Because the stories are good and they're very simple, and at the end they show us what it is like to get a little too proud, to get a little too overwhelmed and too full of our opulences that are given us. So yes, what is that secret I'm talking about? I'm teasing you, but what am I referring to? That Krishna has revealed the secret to all powers, to all success, to fulfillment of all of our desires, both material and spiritual. There is an answer, and it's the original Shastra, the original instruction of the Lord, which was only one word. Only one word. Anybody thinking what I'm thinking? If you do, please message in the chat and see what is that one word that contains the entire answer to all the secrets of this world, to all the success. This is what Tony Robbins should be talking about, right? Say yes to what? What is that word? What is that secret of Bhagavatam that brings us to all answers, to all desires? Close. It requires surrender, yes, but something else I'm talking about. It's a very short word that was spoken in the beginning of creation to the Creator. Okay, Yashadev is just a little too hungry from Ekadashi fasting, so he's just thinking of prasadam. Yes, mercy too. Thank you, Adila Palika. Yes, the word is tapa. So Lord Brahma was created, and it was a very pious, special, wonderful soul who had a desire to be the creator, to experience that, mood of service to the Lord, to create like the Lord, the material creation. And so he needed some powers, right? To create something, to do something great and amazing, you need to be empowered. You need to have the strength. You need to have knowledge. You need to have resources, opportunities, understanding, and just inner strength to follow through. And so Lord Vishnu had to empower Lord Brahma to do that because he didn't know what to do. He was a little confused and overwhelmed. Aren't we feeling like this sometimes? We wake up, and life is just wake up, and then it's like kind of like darkness everywhere, and you just don't know where to start with. It's like, what do I do? It's too much. I don't know. That's how, welcome to depression. Sometimes people with diagnosed depression, if you've never done that before, if you don't know, then you won't be able to understand anything. Like, what's your problem? Just get up and start doing things. But no, they feel like they cannot. They're overwhelmed, and the overwhelming is that sort of ignorant condition takes away all the strength that much that you can't even get out of the bed and just feed yourself, wash yourself, and clothe yourself. That's how difficult it is. So Lord Brahma was on an onset of clinical depression because he just didn't know what to do. It was overwhelming. And then Lord comes with manual of how to achieve anything. And he said, tapa, tapa, tapas, tapas, austerity. So that is the secret. And Hiranyakashipu knew it a little bit, but he forgot two more things. There are three things that we need to do to be happy in this world and to be happy in the next world. And the next world is Krishna, right? And this is also Krishna, all the worlds of Krishna. It's an illusion to think that there's anything separate to Krishna. This is illusion to think that I'm an illusion. This is illusion to even think that there is something beyond Krishna. That is something not Krishna's. That is something that should not be for Krishna. That is our illusion as well. That is our pitiful condition. That is the problem of Hiranyakashipu. He did the austerity, but he completely misused it and just totally blew it in his life. This whole opportunity to be happy, to progress, to just become so successful. So he completely just failed big because he did all this crazy, incredible austerity for so many thousands of years. He gained so much control, and yet look at his frustration. Can you imagine the anger, the disappointment, the moha, the illusion, the madness that he is going to fall into? So much that he's going to be killed for that, right? Because the anger is uncontrolled when your senses are unsatisfied, because you're a servant of the senses and they're like snakes biting you back. Oh, such a painful condition. I know. I'm a master of it. I'm the master of the senses, but the other way around. I'm the master of being controlled by the senses. So I know very well the conditions and the feelings. So if you need some vicarious learning and you don't want to go into that, ask me. I'm so good at this. I'm so good at feeling dissatisfied with the senses when they control me. So, like, I can write PhD papers on that, really. But if you're in the same university completing a PhD, let's discuss what can be done. Can be our thesis. So tapas. What are other two? What do you think? What are other two conditions that should come with tapas? Because tapas can be done in for a wrong reason, just like with Hiranyakashipu, right? It is misused, used just for the senses, later for a particular result that can be detrimental to your spiritual life and material life. Yes, austerity can be performed, but it has wrong reasons. Oh, it's going to be a great result of suffering and pain for you and for others, especially if you gain a lot of power. We have a lot of historical examples of people who are like that. They performed austerities, they had material aspiration, and yet because we have been ignorant, right motives and offerings, everything to, let me see the chat. Yes, I do want you to answer everything to Krishna. Very good, very good. The offering and motives, very nice keywords here. Yes, in Sanskrit, when we talk about it, it's dana, the charity or giving or using your wealth, your resources, right? And yagya, the sacrifice. Sacrificing five elements of the creation that the very senses enjoy, that we're made of, that we're using every day, that we're fully dependent on. Five original elements, the earth, the fire, the water, the air, the ether. You offer it back to Krishna. You perform the yagya. You earn the money. You offer it back to Krishna. That's your yagya. And dana as well, the charity work, giving your not just money, but resources and helping others and being in that mood of charity, being in the mood of giving. Danas, tapas, and yajna. Krishna says in the second canto, ninth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that by the power of austerity alone, I create everything and I manifest everything, and all of that is also that's special power of vrata. So this is the secret. If you want to be happy, either materially, if you still have desires and goals and aspirations, yes, you can practice that path. Just be careful because it's very easy to become Hiranyakashipu once you feel that the results of your austerities are manifesting, you're becoming powerful and, getting all the Sri, the opulence of the Lord. Then you might fall into a trap of feeling like you're the Lord. So be really careful. For devotees, more intelligence to actually remain very humble and careful as you're pursuing. Yes, sure. Seeing all situations, circumstances, opportunities to serve one and others. Thank you very much. Yes, you have such good additions, and I do want to discuss all of them as well. So yes, but this is generally a formula, and as I said, you can use that to attain more bhakti, um, and you can use it to change your karma. And if you're intelligent, you will change your karma just so you can attain more bhakti. Material people use the same. Materialistic people use the same methods. That's why all the billionaires, they do a lot of charity because it's a tax offset, right? But it's also on a universal level. If they donate things, if they, if they're donating some projects, if they give to someone, then they get more. Um, and they perform yagyas, they reinvest things, and, they don't just completely go and spend their money on sense gratification. No, they, to some degree, control their senses. And those who don't, they go down really fast because they lose it or they become mad and they become killed most of the time, right? When politician or some leader or someone who's just completely intoxicated with the power, whatever little powers he's got in this universe, generally don't last so long. They either become mad, crazy, or they die because their senses can't handle any more of that enjoyment or pressure, or they get killed because it's just not the right thing to do if you're in charge. So be careful. Be careful with the pathway. Yes, if you do have some material goals, you can use those skills. But if you really want to be happy, first we need to learn how to control our senses. And then consider, okay, what do I deserve? And again, if your senses are without fangs, if you defang your snakes and they don't bite you back, they don't kill you, then you might be given a lot more as well to use for the right purpose. And if you are master of your senses, then you can have unlimited powers in this world. Then you can become Brahma, or you can become you can achieve one of the liberations, of eternal life with the Lord, because you deserve it, because you're not going to fail yourself as a soul and use it right. So that's the secret. If you want to be opulent, if you want to be happy, if you want to have material opulence, then just become detached from it. Use it for the right purpose and prove to Krishna and to his energy, Maya Devi, that you're deserving it, yet you're worthy of receiving these opulences of the Lord by using them right, by using them nicely. This is a basic principle. Even when we see karma very much on the surface, very manifested, again, I'm going to quote some Jyotish Shastra. What are we looking at? At the planet of charity, Jupiter, right? If somebody asking and coming to you, dear astrologer, I want to be wealthy, I want to have a lot of money, I want to enjoy. What are we looking at? How is your Jupiter? Jupiter is a planet of knowledge, of charity, of yagya. It's guru, right? It's that principle. So we have to explain to people, if you want to receive, learn how to give. You know, if you want to experience the opulence of your life, first feel that you have unlimited opportunity to give that opulence to others by using the energy of the Lord and giving it back to the Lord. So there are some principles and secrets that maybe people who struggle materially, they forget and they don't know, and they just like undermine themselves all the time. There are other situations, if you changing your karma by these activities, you're making some vows and austerities, which are very powerful tools. If you think about it, the way to change karma, there are several, or the way to achieve spiritual potency. And all of us, we practice that, to feel inner strength, to be able to uphold our vows of chanting and hearing and just be strong, to control the senses and the mind, to strengthen that intelligence, the mind. We also already perform those austerities. Ekadashi, what do we do in Ekadashi? We chant more, which is a vow, and it's difficult for the mind to do unless you are Raganuga Bhakta and you have such taste for Hare Krishna Mahamantra that nobody needs to force you to do that as sadhana. It's just you chanting naturally because you love Krishna so much and you understand the sweetness of the holy name. And that is actually your main happiness. If you're not on that level yet, that you're chanting 24/7, then perhaps, yeah. This is also austerity. We fast. Fasting is considered to be one of the most powerful ways to change your karma, to change your material suffering condition, to increase our devotion. If you fast on particular days, like the Bhishma Panchaka fast, which I think is started today, by the way. So if you want, you can do that and follow the regulations prescribed, particularly for devotees of Krishna, in Damodara Masa, right? When we abstain from um, all the foods for the next 5 days and we eat particular product and then maybe even nothing. I don't do that. I'm sorry. I'm not a very good example of the fasting person, but it's a very, and because it's so difficult for most people, it's one of the most powerful ways to change your karma. And when we when we fast on Ekadashi considered to be mother of devotion, is described just as Ekadashi destroys all sins, right? So people particularly fast on that day because they want to purify their existence so that they can serve Krishna. It's the mother of devotion because it very quickly can burn all your sins, your past karma, um, it can tame your uncontrolled senses very fast. It's a powerful method to fast. Another main upaya or rectification of our karma mm, and boost for our bhakti. Again, you can choose what way you're moving. We can just work on our karma, but motivation can be sometimes wrong, right? I can clean my karma so I can enjoy next life and, do it all over again without suffering too much. On the other side, I don't want to be in the middle planetary system. I want a bit more good, for some time. No, we talk about changing your karma so you can continue serving your Lord, overcome your conditions, overcome the pollution of the mind, the limited circumstances, and yes, increase your devotion. So if you're doing it for the right reason, then it's a good thing to do. Then mantras are very powerful as well. So fasting and the mantras are the most powerful austerities that they can perform. And of course, there are 33 million and more mantras for absolutely every occasion, for every entity of every devata, for every reason, every day of the week is just unlimited. Maybe you think it's a joke when there are some statements like that in Bhagavatam because we don't do it. We don't practice so much of them. We just chant our Maha Mantra and a few other mantras, if you familiar with them, the Gayatri mantras, the Brahmanas, the mantras that you do for worshiping the deities, for doing your pujas, service, offering prasadam. All of our mantras are for bhakti, Krishna bhakti. Srila Prabhupada gave us this set. But there are millions and millions of mantras for every single reason for you need, to work on. Literally just micro correcting your karma, like a very specific thing I want to do in my life. I want my kidneys to stop hurting. I want the gallbladder to be clean. There is a mantra for that. I want to earn and save up to buy the house. There is a mantra for that. There is a particular mantra to chant to achieve that material goal. Like all those things in there. But with mantras, really, we just, if it's their motivation is pure and you just want to continue to serve and improve your service and you want to experience more devotion, this is a very pure motivation, right? Or unmotivated mantra chanting, the prayer, then yes, it's just directly receiving mercy. But once you resolute and you have a goal in mind, hopefully pure devotion to Krishna, pure love of Krishna, pure heart, then by engaging in chanting, by engaging in certain austerities, by taking a vow, and we do take vows for life when we become initiated devotees, when we receive Diksha mantra, right? 4 vows of, oh my goodness, I almost forgot. It's been so long since I told them to my guru, right? Not create harm to other animals by being vegetarian, not gambling, so controlling your senses and greed especially, not intoxicating and remaining pure and not illicit sex, and then chanting 14 rounds. I mean, oh my goodness, 16 rounds. Krishna, Krishna. Please don't quote me on that. 16 rounds and more. There's a vows. And once you do that, this is like a contract you write down. It's a very, very, very powerful method. Everything that Srila Prabhupada gave us and the acharyas in the process of bhakti is super scientific. It's It's actionable steps that work. And just because you don't see them right now sometimes, and you should be seeing them right now. I mean, all of us have changed so much after taking a bhakti, but you should see how it affects your far future for so many lifetimes, and it burns all the past stuff, everything. Maybe you felt like when you got initiated. This is a strong recommendation for those who are not initiated yet, to please take that path, because what you will feel is this new life, new birth. You wake up the next morning after your initiation, you feel like, wow, it's just like I was born, except for I don't have to wear a diaper anymore, hopefully. I understand things, and yet it feels like a fresh start because it burned up all my karma. So what happens on the universal level when we take these vows, when we take an austerity of serving Krishna, of becoming resolute, to become free from the material conditioning, from Maya, to um, to offer our life to Krishna, to surrender, like Yashodeva wrote in the beginning, right? The secret to all success is a surrender to. Um, you write a contract with the universe, with the Lord, with Maya Devi, and you say, I do this. And if I do it, if I complete my vows and I've become successful for this lifetime, we've taken an example of receiving initiation and upholding our four regulative principles and vow of chanting for the whole lifetime. It's a very, very serious commitment and a statement that you put it out in the universe. I'm going to say that language, right? Because it's literally what happens. You make that promise, and in turn, it's a challenge to Maya, and yes, Maya going to challenge you back because it's her service to Krishna. Maya Devi has to do that. It's her offering to Krishna as well, to test all the serious sadhakas, all the people who's trying to attain certain strength and power for whatever reasons. The demigods test because they have to give the benedictions. They have to test all this. How many stories in Bhagavatam are about being tested like this? Performing the austerity, sitting there underwater, meditating, and then suddenly some apsara comes, tingling and playing with the bowl and getting her hair loose, all this sort of stuff. Because the Maya Devi and the demigods, they have to test you all. Because if you complete and succeed, then they sort of like have to follow through and give you the results of your austerities. And Krishna too, if you're very serious and you're committing to this, and you're devoted to your guru and the process, and purifying your heart, wow, he's going to look and say he's very serious, and the price is very high at stake. You're going to be tested. You're going to be tested, and you're going to even be sometimes challenged to break your vows and austerities, mostly by Maya, because again, it's her service to the Lord to see how serious you are. But at some point, you're under jurisdiction of Krishna. Maya has the limits there. At some point, Krishna says, okay, it's enough. Now it's within my domain only. Now, Maya, you cannot touch that person. It happens at some point. And then it's Krishna. And also, Krishna going to test you. Why? Because if you're very determined, he'll have to give himself to you. That is the price of being practicing bhakti and sadhana bhakti. Krishna kind of promises to give himself, because there's no higher um, pleasure. There's no higher reward anywhere in this world, in the other world, in all three worlds, and spiritual world. There's no higher reward than attaining Krishna, his association, his service, his reciprocation, his love, relationship with him and his devotees. This is what he said to the gopis. I cannot repay you for everything you do. I can only give you myself and your own bhakti. There's nothing higher. He's like unable to repay them, right? And same can happen to us if we're just so determined in our bhakti. And please, I want to emphasize it over and over again. You have you have absolutely priceless reward and a gem waiting for you. Don't think that it's like, I don't know, it's not going to produce anything. You're just here to suffer, watching the materialists enjoying their senses and whatever, getting great or something. And here you are just serving at the temple, or here you are, whatever, like slaving away for Krishna, right? Sometimes it feels like this when we serve so much and it feels like there's nothing in return. But what about me? It seems difficult. No, 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 no. Please don't forget that you're just not getting some other stuff because you reaching for the most important thing that nobody else can get, and that's Krishna. And he will give himself to you if you really, 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 really try and want and ask him and pray and surrender. And that's going to be the end result. So we are like the most ambitious. Materialists sometimes criticize devotees like, you guys just like don't have any goals in life. You're just so lame. You're like always hoping for some future thing, but not acting right now. Devotees sometimes criticize for that, for being sort of passive. No, 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 no. They just don't know that we are like the most ambitious, the most audacious in this world, because we're not trying to get some just money or some, like Hiranyakashipu, just like, oh, I want to control everything. I want to become God. No, we're going for something so much bigger, so much more incredible. And that's having Krishna under control, having Krishna under control of our pure love, because that's the only way to control Krishna. That's the only way to control everything for real, anything or anyone. Love, you know? People just pretend being controlled by money. If somebody has to be controlled by you just because they are position or money, or if somebody have to love you just for your control and money, it's nasty feeling. You actually don't love the person. Maybe like you respect them for some way, maybe you envy them, maybe you want to be in their position, but you can't, and therefore you're forced to be under the control. We've seen this before in all the workplaces, in all the politics, and all the destructive relationship, right? If somebody's under control of someone, but it's not because out of love voluntarily, then it's not bringing any happiness. People know deep down, I'm not loved just for my money. I'm not loved for my power. I'm not just loved for my material gains or achievements. Everybody down deep knows that. It's only love, the principle of love, that can actually bring happiness. And if you control somebody by love because they want to reciprocate with you, because they conquered by your sincerity, by your service, by your offering, by your care, that brings actual happiness. And yeah, we should analyze our life. What are our relationship like? Am I controlling someone because they have no choice but do that? All right, great, congratulations. As soon as they're not dependent of you anymore, then they're gonna leave. That's the basic principle, right? But if there's love involved, there's actual service and sincerity, then yeah, it's going to last and it's going to turn into something very beautiful. And same with Krishna. There's nothing we can control him with except for our love. And therefore, devotees of the Lord are the most ambitious, most incredible people in this world, because they aspire, they're very intelligent, because they aspire for something that is not available anywhere in this material world, this divine love, love for God. And that's why Narada Muni says that in his instructions. And that's why all the great devotees, like Prahlad Maharaj and Lord Shiva and everybody, they actually pray for that. And all the souls who have been transformed, um, and converted into pure devotees by hearing their guru or a pure devotee who came and saved them from mistakes of becoming like Hiranyakashipu, if they had enough intelligence and humility to accept that and take up those instructions, they also, always pray for that. And they say, how could I mistake this broken glass for the diamonds, the material opulence or control, or, some material desire I had? How could I do that? And then later they'll lament, asking for something like that. I mean, every story in the Bhagavatam like this. Whatever they've been asking for, and then Lord gives them. Like Dhruva Maharaj, right? Even. He's like, why was I wanted to get some planet and, become more powerful? My father, this was so silly. Oh, now I saw your Lord, beautiful form, and I don't want anything else. How could I just use this, my time, and perform its austerities and meditate on something that is just like broken glass? And all the devotees like this. Once they see the Lord, they understand, wow, this is what I need to aspire for. I just want Krishna. because he's so amazing, because he's so beautiful, because he's so rich, right? We all love the Sri, the opulences, because he's so strong and attractive and funny and he just knows everything. He's so smart and he's so gentle and generous and he's so forgiving and he knows exactly how to interact to increase the love. He never makes mistakes that makes us feel frustrated or insecure or scared or just, you know, all that stuff we have to experience in relationship that we're trying to build here, but with the souls who cannot be Krishna, and we shouldn't expect them to be. So please stop forcing and molesting your partner because he's not Krishna. It's not going to happen. He's not going to be perfect ever, ever, ever. It's not possible. Yes, you can still be happy if you if you work together and try to forgive and understand and everything. But yes, being with Krishna is just amazing. Mm. If we just have one realization of one of his qualities in full, we're going to be fully in love. And one time I experienced that momentarily for a very short time. I was reading again very much. Most of the realizations comes when we're very serious about hearing and chanting. So some point in my life, I really just kept my vow of reading not less than 2 hours a day, strictly every single day, chanting very attentively, reading various books. And I remember reading Nectar of Devotion and Chitan Charitamrita at the same time. And I think I was reading also Jaiva Dharma. And so there was this sort of confluence of everything, the consciousness, the right time, and the mercy of the Lord, where for a moment I just read about how Krishna is the richest person in the world. And along with other descriptions of his beauty and his form, and his like Tribhanga form of him being slightly bent and having broad shoulders and beautiful broad chest and big eyes and an absolutely incredible smile with eyes like jasmine, the teeth just like jasmine buds. And if you've seen jasmine buds, they are absolutely perfect and beautiful and very nice size and very nice color. And they're so gentle and almost like effulgent. So just imagine Krishna's smile. And at the same time, with all these qualities, he also like the most wealthy person, the richest person. And suddenly I fell in love with Krishna. And you think like, wow, she's so shallow. She's just looking for the rich one. But no, it was like this sort of realization for the moment that everything I'm looking in this world, everything I'm trying to squeeze out of other persons to be happy or sort of manifest in myself, it's actually already there in that person. And for that one moment, I felt so much love and attraction to Krishna. Just realizing some of these qualities like if he really is there, he's really an actual person that exists and has it all. Wow, that was something special. And I felt I felt so excited in my bhakti, I felt so excited in executing my devotional service because, I felt like I'm not just doing this to stop suffering, to end the suffering and the burning fire of my bad karma, because like, oh, I want to get away from it. No, the motivation is like, oh, I want to be with Krishna. He's so amazing. And I felt a little closer to that realization of like what it's like to be the resident of Vrindavan and just think that Krishna is so cool. I want to hang out with him. I want to be friend with him. I want to be his girlfriend because he's so cool. And I can't help it but I want to serve that very, very cool person. He's so attractive. I cannot resist. And I just want to give everything I have, hopefully with a health, self-esteem in the spiritual world, healthy self-esteem. We also think we're cool enough to give something to Krishna, like the coward boys. They they don't like Krishna comes to them and like, okay, let's go. It's time. We're already late. Let's go to the forest. There's so many games to play. There's so many fun things to do. And they're like, I'm not going, Krishna. I'm staying home today because I'm a bad person. I suck. No, I'm sorry for my language today. I'm just trying to put my, how do you say, feelings and the real self in the Bhagavatam so it's convincing in those realizations. And I guess that's the vocabulary that comes out. You know, the coward boys wouldn't say no to Krishna. We can't go to play because I'm just bad and I'm a failure and I'm not good enough to play with you. No, they have very healthy self-esteem of being souls and being cool enough to hang out with Krishna. In fact, they think they're completely equal to Krishna. And that's how they can serve Krishna and give pleasure to Krishna, because they're equal and they can jump on his back and they can tickle him and they can like lift the hill together and they can challenge him and say like, what are you bluffing about? No, that's the pleasure. And they realize they have they have the love they can offer to Krishna, and Krishna wants it that way. Just like we enjoy the relationship that are equal and confidential and very close and intimate, where nobody is like afraid of us, they can tell us the truth. I mean, hopefully we enjoy that, right? It's only because Krishna does it first. He doesn't just want the Vaikuntha mood all the time, or the, you know, material world, which is like Santa Claus sort of model relationship, where the people just writing him letters what they want and pretending to be good a week before Christmas. No, he enjoys the most is our love. And it's free from all conceptions of awe and reverence, you know, like in Vrindavan. So let's strive for that. Let's strive for serving Krishna in a way that he actually enjoys the most, because it's the goal of life of any soul, liberated soul, conditioned soul. All of us are meant to do that. Have fun, enjoy, be happy, be healthy, be Krishna conscious. And for now, if you're not yet in Goloka Vrindavan, just remember, if you're simply trying to get Krishna, you have a bright future ahead. You have nothing to fear, have nothing to worry about. The Lord will help, because he also wants him to have you. He likes that actually. He's not avoidant type of attachment. He's not um, the anxious. He has very secure attachment style, you know, because he had a good childhood, despite some demons trying to ruin it. He still had very loving parents and very loving friends, and so he has no insecurities. And so Krishna is very happy to help us, to take him, to get him to be loved. He wants that. He wants to depend on his devotees and their love. He wants to be conquered and be controlled. And we should learn from him. We should also heal our hearts and stop being so scared of love, of our relationship with devotees, of our progress in bhakti, of our gradual liberation from the clutches of senses and mind and Maya. And this way, very happily, with enthusiasm, with inspiration, practice our bhakti, sadhana bhakti, Krishna consciousness. Let's not stay in that lamentation, wasting time, thinking how bad I am state of mind. Because the more you think about yourself, even if it's like, oh, you know, I'm so humble, I'm so bad, I can do this, I can do that, still, it's all about you, right? Still, it's all about not thinking of Krishna, because I'm busy thinking of how far away I am and how unqualified I am. Stop the lamentation part. Yeah, it's there, but can you imagine how much more time you could be using, taking all that energy to lament about your life and just thinking about Krishna this whole time? How fun would that be? How amazing the life would be. Hmm? How full the day would be. You wake up and you think, wow, I don't know how many hours you sleep. I try to sleep a good amount, so I'm functional. But whatever hours you have before you go to bed again, you think, incredible. I have that many minutes to think of Krishna today. I'm so excited. I can't wait to do it. So, in the last 5 days of Kartik, I wish you all to increase your thinking time. Make a little challenge, take a little vow. Every time you want to criticize or complain about something or someone, or about yourself, or about, or indulge into, oh, I'm so bad, oh, you know, just take a vow. And if you remember at that moment, if it happened that Lord gave you this inspiration and mercy to think of him, please go for it and do that, and use that time to fill yourself up with a very positive spiritual energy that actually transforms you a lot more than lamentation about something and negative thinking. Think of Krishna, use that time to do that, and may your life be sublime. as a chant Hare Krishna. Thank you, everybody. Nitai Guru Premanande, Haribol, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Kartik Vrata, Kartik Masa ki jai, Shashirada Damodara ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. And thank you to Hiranyakashipu because he's given us so many valuable lessons so we don't have to repeat that and feel this terrible frustration he's experiencing after wasting so many thousands of years performing this austerity. What a waste. So let's not do that. Let's use it right way. Let's not fail this lifetime. Haribo. I guess no question time, but you can send some emojis if you want. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mother Little Kishori. Thank you, everybody. I'm so inspired by your encouragement. I'm preaching to myself mostly, but if it was useful, I'm very grateful and very happy. All glories to Gurudev. Haribo. Have a good day. I'm off now.